Heston equipment, new tillage tools, new forage equipment, new hay balers, new windrowers and mower conditioners, even a new color. Suddenly, it became apparent that for the 80s, Heston was the prime line. While others talked of reducing their product line, Heston introduced new equipment. While others talked of getting out of the tractor business, Heston introduced a complete new line. And while others talked of reducing their dealer support, Heston increased its sales force by 20%. To North American farmers and ranchers, Heston's commitment means continuing the tradition of providing high-quality farm equipment. Equipment plus parts and service you can depend on through dealers who display the Heston sign, a good sign for the future.
From downtown Oklahoma City and the fabulous Myriad Arena, this is the final championship performance of the 1982 National Finals Rodeo. Here's your host, Bob Eubanks.
Describes this rodeo, and we've seen evidence of that all week. We've already seen a new money record set in a single event, and with $700,000 or more up for grabs for these contestants, we know that the championship of the world will be decided in a lot of our events right here today. And of course, it'll all boil down to that all-around championship. That'll happen this afternoon as well.
You bet it will. And also joining us in our broadcast team is the man who holds that all-around championship 6 times, Larry Mahan. Larry will be down in the rodeo arena with a microphone for his insights and interviews. So if you're ready, here we go with the National Finals for 1982 as we go to the bucking chutes and the bareback broncs.
Well, here's the final round of the bareback riding. It is Jack Ward to lead us off. Stephenville, Texas cowboy, 2-time champ of the world. He's on Cream Puff of the Midwest Rodeo Company.
All right, he nods his head, Hadley, and here we go. This young man was not even in the top 20 in September, but he made a real rush at the end. He ended up in the top 15, and that is one of the stipulations in order to get to the National Finals. You must be one of the top 15 money winners, and that Jack Ward is.
Bob Jack always rides hard when he comes to the National Finals. He's a tough competitor, and we might show the folks at home exactly what our Wrangler Pro officials will be looking for. It'll be a divided scoring system between the horse the cowboy rides and the way the man rides him. It's a 50-50 deal. The way he handles those spurs, the way the horse performs, that's what they'll be considering.
And they considered a 68 for this ride for Cadillac Jack Ward. As we're on our way from Oklahoma City, this, the 1982 National Finals Rodeo. Let's go to Dave Appleton from Snyder, Texas. This young gentleman is from Australia. Came to the United States to rodeo and go to college, and he's made quite a name for himself. Here we go.
He's quite a young athlete. He's on gray velvet of the Vern Franklin string. And hey, this is quite a ride taking place. This may be the best ride of the week for the Australian cowboy, Dave Appleton.
Waiting for our judges, Hadley, at 80 for Dave Appleton. How's that? He likes it.
Well, that not only puts him in the lead of the go-round, but he moves into the lead of the average. He's completed 10 horses. He leads for the aggregate.
When we talk about the NFR, we're talking about the rodeo this week in Oklahoma City. When we talk about the world, we talk about the entire year. And that's Dave Appleton's ride with an 80.
The next man is Joe Alexander, the 5-time world champ, who's now at a point in his career when he's going to have to give it up within the next couple of years. He was injured in the 3rd go-around, has been out all week. A horse stepped on his hand. He's drawn a horse called Mile High, a horse that sold the other day at the Jim Shoulders bucking horse sale for $8,000. He's a good horse, but he's got the all-time great bareback rider on him, Joe Alexander.
Well, it is a tough bareback rider, 13 times to the National Finals Rodeo. The Mile High horse that Larry was telling you about changed hands from the Jim Sutton string to Mac Altizer for $8,000. He's a good horse. Joe's been out with an injury all week long. He's had a little trouble with his rigging, Bob. We hope things work for him here. Look at the great ride Alexander's putting on this horse.
Look out, Joe. Ouch, Hadley, that was a hard. This man is 39 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and we're watching history because he's qualified for the national finals 13 consecutive years. Let's watch that again, Hadley, in slow motion. No score for Joe, as you can see there, but he took one heck of a bounce.
Well, there's a tough horse to ride, and as we mentioned, one of the more expensive horses in the bucking strings across our land. Well, Joe was out to win a go-round. He wasn't here just to make an appearance. It was a pretty aggressive ride.
There's a shot of our sold-out crowd here at the Myriad in Oklahoma City as we go to Muck Dishman now.
Well, here's a fine young cowboy making his first appearance at the National Finals Rodeo. He had a big win earlier of $25,000 at Salinas. And now here's Larry and
73, Hadley.
Joe, you broke your right hand earlier in the week. Today, your left hand came out of that rig, and did that have anything to do with it?
Well, that's what happened, you know. I hate to say it, but I thought I had a good setup there, but my rigging handle isn't very good, you know, Larry, and that's what's letting it out, and that's what caused the wreck, you know, on my second horse that caused the injury. So I'll be all right to get a new handhold, I guess.
Are you going to crack out again next year, Denver and so on, hit and try to make it to the finals in '83?
No, I don't know about the finals, Larry. I'm going to go to the winter rodeos because I don't have anything else to do, but I'm going to go to them, and then after that, I don't know what I'll do, you know, but I want to go to the winter rodeos.
Great champ, Joe Alexander. Thanks, partner.
Hendersonville, Nevada, and Danny Brady. You've just been watching his ride. Thank you, Larry and Joe Alexander. By the way, Hadley, Danny Brady says that he credits J.C. Trujillo and Mickey Young for showing him his style. It's a good style, too. The judges say a 70 for Danny Brady, this young cowboy from Nevada.
Well, Danny put it together on a horse called Party Doll of the Bradford Ivy string, and his total score on 10 horses of 731 points moves him into second place in the average. He is behind Dave Appleton at the moment.
Well, that young cowboy's won $36,070 thus far. He's won $5,700 at the national finals this week. Steve Dunham is a cowboy from Alberta, Canada. He is the defending Canadian champion in this event, and he's quite a rider, too.
Well, he's from Turner Valley, Alberta, Canada. He's been to the finals many times in his career right here in Oklahoma City. He's drawn a horse called Wee Willie. The horse belongs to Marvin Brookman from up in the Montana country. Now, this cowboy's already won $2,450 during the week. He'd like to have a big win here. He's out of the average. He needs a go-around win. He's aggressive. He wants it here. Look at him get after that horse. Ooh, keeping those feet high. The right foot coming out of the horse just a bit. It may be a disappointing outcome to the ride for Steve. He was trying him, however, a hard horse to ride.
You're right, Hadley. The judges say a 69 for Steve Dunham. Let's go down to Gary Hempstead.
Here is a tough bareback rider. All of his peers admire the aggressive attitude of this guy. He's from Anderson, California. He's on Done Gone of the Neil Gay string.
Well, he's had a pretty good week. He's won some $8,000 thus far. He's trying to add to that. If he wins the go-round today, he adds another $3,250 to it.
Well, Bob, his friends call him Gilligan, and he has many of them. But they admire his style. I'll tell you, this guy will go after you, not only in the bareback riding, but the team roping. He's been to the finals in the team roping in previous years, matter of fact. He scores a 72 as we watch Gary on the replay. You can see his style, keeping those feet far to the front, dragging them back toward the rigging. That's what it's all about.
Once again, when we talk about the average, we're talking about the 10 performances at the NFR. Here is the reigning world's champion. In 1981, this man won it all. J.C. Trujillo, Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
He has drawn the bareback horse of the year. This is the horse called Smith and Velvet, owned by Christensen Brothers from up in Oregon. Here is a tough horse to ride. Now, this man, well known for not bucking off of horses. He may have his challenge today. Oh,
Look out,
no.
J.C. Oh.
Comes down from that one.
He did have his challenge. Hadley, I was going to say something about that. This man in 1981 went the entire year without being bucked off of a horse, if you can imagine that. And he took a very hard fall. Let's watch it again. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a gentleman. He is a fine bareback rider. The 1981 champion of the world, J.C. Trujillo.
Well, he comes down a little sharp from that one. The horse almost stepped on his head as he went by him. Moving back to the chutes, you can see those good-looking satin jackets, and they were provided for all of our assistants by the upstream division of Modern Jacket Company. They went to all of the NFR contestants, and we appreciate their support.
Jerome, Idaho brings us Mickey Young 3 times to the national finals. Frosted Velvet from the Mike Survey Championship string.
This cowboy stands a little taller than the rest of the bareback riders, and he's taken advantage of those long legs. It's the mileage that we talked about. They look at that half of the scoring. Our Wrangler officials will evaluate the ride. On the way, the guy sets those feet way, way out there and drag them all the way back. Well, Mickey has a little more to work with.
Mickey's had a good week this week, too. He's won almost $12,000, trying to add a little more to that. And he's done it, I think, Adley. Look at there. There's an 80. That means that he takes the lead in the average thus far on 10 horses.
He does, and he also moves into a tie for the go-round. This could be about a $1,200 ride for him. $12,000, I ought to say.
Larry Peabody.
2 times to the national finals. We remember him from last year, turning in the best bareback ride of the 81 finals. Larry has won well over $8,000, but he's out of contention for the average. He comes back with a 68 score today.
All right, here's Bobby Logue. Placed second in the world, or he came to the finals second in the world, chasing Bruce Ford the entire year.
I think it's interesting to note that he has drawn a horse from the Ford Rodeo Company. Bruce and his father own a rodeo company, so it is a Ford horse called JR's Velvet, and Bobby Logue is showing his style on this one.
He said, let's get out of here, and this is one kind of a competitor, too. Bobby Logue has won nearly $90,000 this year riding bareback horses.
Thank you, everybody. Well, Bobby is well known to be very, very fast with his feet. This particular horse doesn't have all that much charge. He's kind of hanging back, and it gives Bobby a chance to really show his style.
And our judges say a 68 for Bobby Logue.
No matter what happens, Bruce Ford is going to be the 1982 World's Champion bareback rider. He's won it before. If he wins the average here this afternoon, he's going to go to the lead for the all-around championship of the world because he entered the bull riding 1 time this year and placed. Bruce Ford, and he's drawn a good one.
Bruce Ford looking for his 3rd championship of the world. Beverly's Velvet of the Walter Osbaugh string. This is the 3rd best horse at the national finals this year, and the champ covers him. Well, if he can score anything respectable here, he's going to win the average and add to that $100,000 win. It's looking good for Bruce Ford.
Yes, Hadley, he's done it. He scores a 76. That means that Bruce Ford is not only the champion of the world, but he wins the average in Oklahoma City in the 1982 National Finals Rodeo.
Oh, look at the way this guy is riding. Well, Larry Mahan is down with the Cowboys. Larry, can you talk to our champion for us? We'd like to hear from him.
Congratulations, champ. You won it again. You've just gone to lead in the lead for the all-around championship of the world. What's that mean?
Well, that means I've done all I can do now, and it's just up to everybody else now. Whatever Chris don't do, I guess is what's going to determine me.
You've won over $100,000 riding bareback horses this year. When did you set that goal?
About mid-July, I decided I'd like to win $90,000 before I got here, and then $100,000 was in my mind then.
What are you going to do in '83?
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna get into stock contracting business, but it's hard to back out of a business that's paying so much money.
The world's champion bareback rider Bruce Ford. Congratulations, partner.
Now here's news about Heston's all-new 1982 Collector's Belt Buckles.
Since 1921, Heston NFR Collector's Buckle is dedicated. Here is Pro Rodeo's ultimate tribute to the Cowboy's Cowboy, the all-around champion. It's buckle number 8, the final edition in Heston's Cowboy Classic Series, which included the major rodeo events and rodeo clowns. Get yours now. The 1982 Heston Limited Edition Belt Buckle. Just $7.50, only at one of these Heston dealers.
Available at Trev's Motor and Implement in Bankley.
Steer wrestling.
All right, Cliff Armstrong is our first steer wrestler from Bloomington, California. He's won $4,800 this week at the NFR. His year's total up to now, $35,603. The man on the right is the Hazer. He keeps the steer in line. Cliff's down on the steer. Look out, Hadley. He let go of it. Got away.
Well, Cliff making his 2nd appearance at the National Finals Rodeo. He's a great athlete. Look at that guy walk back. He looks like he could play pass receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. You know it? Probably
I think most of them do, don't they? This is a big man sport because the next Cowboy is Roy Duvall. He's 235 pounds and one tough customer.
Well, this marks his 17th appearance at the National Finals Rodeo. He won the competition at the National Finals last year. Also won the world title 3 times. He's 40 years old. He's won $2,400 here this week so far. Roy Duvall showing good form and a 5-second run on the nose.
Man from Chakota, Oklahoma. 40 years old. As Hadley said, he's been to the finals 17 times. And this man is a tough guy. 5 seconds. That's all it took him to get this steer down. They're wrestling Corrente cattle. These cattle will weigh between 550 and 600 pounds. At the beginning of the week, they were fresh. They'd never been handled before. Cattle are slowing down a little bit, but that makes them tougher to handle sometimes, too. Okay, let's go to Joel Edmondson now.
Joel making his second appearance at the National Finals. He's from Columbus, Kansas. Here's another big man, about 6'2", 210, 15 pounds. He's won over $5,000 this week, but he had a little trouble on one of his earlier steers, had trouble catching him, so he needs a go-around win here. He has it on his mind. He said he was going to ride hard at it. At a good 4.9.
It's going to cost him, though, Hadley. He broke the barrier down there. That's the one way you can get a penalty in steer wrestling. He broke the barrier, which means it cost him 10 seconds, and we go now to this
John W. Jones.
John W. Jones, yes, from Morro Bay, California. There's Chris Libbert watching. He'll be on a little bit later.
Now, those are traveling partners, and that's the way they probably set side by side about 90,000 miles in their pickup truck earlier this year. John W. Jones, last year's Rookie of the Year, comes to the finals this year in 2 events. He turns in a 7-second run, goes to the lead in the average. He has thrown 10 steers down now in a total time of 84 seconds.
You notice it said junior after John W. Jones. His father was a world champion steer wrestler. You can see those 2 lines in front of the chute now. The first line you see is the steer wrestling barrier line. Otherwise, that is the score line. The steers knows much get to that line before the cowboy crosses the barrier. That's the head start the steer gets in steer wrestling. Gary Green.
This is Gary Green, the young man out of Heathville, Louisiana. Now, he came here with it on his mind to win the National Finals Rodeo, and he's had a very successful season. It's not been all that bad. The guy will win about $40,000 this year. Gary Green, we had an opportunity to see on 2 of our Pro Tour Series qualifying rodeos back at the finals in Casper this past fall. So he had a good year.
Kind of missed that right horn. Okay, here's the man to watch. This is Jimmy Cooper. He's won $6,500 this week. 94,000 total earnings thus far this year. 2-event cowboy, and watch him now.
Now, Jimmy Cooper is not out of the race for the all-around crown. He's had such a good year here at the NFR. He's won just short of $20,000. Now, he has taken the lead in the go-around. He's moved into 2nd place in the average. So this guy is in the hunt for the all-around crown.
Someone said earlier in the week, if there's 2 people in the world I wouldn't want chasing me, it's the Cooper boys, Jimmy Cooper and Roy Cooper. And you can see why. They have that competitive edge. The eye of the tiger, I guess you'd call it. All right, here's last year's champion of the world. This is our reigning world champion thus far, Byron Walker.
And Byron Walker has won about every honor you can in steer wrestling, and he is still just 24 years old. He has a lot of time left to win some more.
Yeah, a pretty good run for Byron.
He had a little trouble during the week, Bobby. Comes back with a 5-6 on this one.
Maybe he can pick up a few more bucks. Okay, he's won $3,650. Here's a guy to watch. This is Chris Libbert, Coyote, California. Chris came to the finals ahead in the all-round championship. Will he end up as the all-round champion? We'll find out.
We're going to know in just a moment. If he can throw this steer under 17 seconds and win the average, he can cinch the all-around crown for 1982. Come on, Chris, make it count. A tough steer to handle. The last thing he wants is that steer to get away from him. No, he holds on to it.
He did it. There's our new all-round champion of the world from Coyote, California, Chris Libbert. And there is one happy guy right there.
Look at him smile. 11-1. That'll do it for him. He cinches the all-around championship of the world.
This young man is a team roper, calf roper, and one heck of a steer wrestler. This is Paul Hughes from Kim, Colorado.
Now, this guy has qualified for the NFR in not only the steer roping, but the team roping and the steer wrestling. He's a former winner of the National Finals steer wrestling. Paul Hughes comes up with a 5-3 run, looking pretty good on that one.
6 times champion of the world, all-round champion of the world too, Tom Ferguson. Watch the concentration, because this is a competitor. He's making sure the steer's head is turned just right, making sure his horse feels just right, the weight on the back feet. There he goes, nods his head, and Paul, he's on his way. Tom Ferguson.
That steer a little hard to handle. Tom trying to shape you up, slipped off of that nose. The steer almost made his escape. This guy will show you that he is determined. Puts the steer down. You know, I think it's interesting. People say, what happened to Tom Ferguson this year? He's not winning the all-around. Well, he's won $77,000. That's not all that bad.
This is the 1980 champion of the world. Butch Myers. This man said, I will become a cowboy, a professional cowboy, after I buy a ranch and have a family. That's what he did. Then he won the World's Championship.
Butch has to win at least 4th in the average on this steer, so he has to have a good run on him. Now the steer giving him no cooperation. The world title is actually slipping right through his hands as the seconds tick by. Butch has to keep a hold of him. Time is running out on him. What a tough break for a great
That
cowboy.
truly is a tough break for a great champion, too. He could have won the championship for the second time, and he put this steer down in any kind of respectable time. 33-4. Doggone it. He knows he just lost it. Look at him smile. He's one kind of a competitor.
Isn't he, though? Well, this man right here had that steer earlier in the week, so Stan knew that Butch had not drawn all that well. Williamson now has the world title cinched after that run by Butch Myers, so the pressure is off of him. But he wants to win a go-around, and he may have the steer to do it on.
Yes, he does. Look at there. The pressure was off, as you said, Hadley. He had the championship won. He just won the go-round with a 4-4. Ladies and gentlemen, there is the champion of the world in 1982 in the steer wrestling, Stan Williamson.
And Byron Walker right out there, the defending champion, out there to congratulate him. Let's watch this run. His fans have been waiting all week for a run from this guy like this. And boy, we are seeing it. Well, Larry is going to talk to our champion. Larry, are you down there?
Well, going into the finals this afternoon, Butch was $500 and some odd behind the man who turned out to be the world's champ, Stan Williamson. Congratulations, Stan. How was that pressure? How'd you handle it?
Well, I knew it was going to wind up today, and luckily I come up with a better steer. You know, I didn't want to see Butch go out with a bad one, but I just got lucky and drew the better steer.
When did you make up your mind this year that you were going to go for the big buckle?
Well, after I win second at Houston.
That was early in the year, so you've been going strong all year.
Yes, sir.
How many rodeos?
I'm going to say 80. I haven't counted them. I don't know for sure.
Was it worth it?
Oh, yes, sir.
The world's champ, Stan Williamson. Well, Butch, you had a tough break today, but how's it feel to end up number 2?
Well, number 2's fine. I always try for number 1, but it didn't come down and work out that way today, Larry.
Well, he's been a world's champ. We've got 2 of the champs right here, the number 1 and number 2 man in the world for the steer wrestling. Congratulations, champ.
Thank you.
It's a fact.
Roping. Rope one, back foot cost you 5 seconds. Break the barrier cost you 10 seconds. One man ropes the head, the other man ropes the heels. Here we go. Team roping.
It is team roping. As we see these guys back in the barrier, our opening team is Rusty Tooley. At the head end, Dan Fisher will be roping the heels. Here's a Texas team.
All right, Hanley, there's a couple of ways you can get penalties now. One back foot costs you 5 seconds. Break the barrier costs you 10 seconds. But this is a penalty-free run and a good one, too. No, it's not. Take it back, Hanley. Just look down there. They broke out. That cost them 10 seconds. They had a 5-4, add 10 to it. A 15-4 for that team.
Well, here's a tough team of Lee Woodbury, Caldwell, Idaho, Jake Milton out of Torrington, Wyoming. Jake does the heading for this team. We see him setting his horse right there. Lee will be at the heels.
Good solid head catch. Healer comes in. He wants 2 back feet. Takes that turn around the saddle horn, the horse's face. That's when the flag comes down. The official time is 6-7, according to our judge. Woodbury and Milton. All right, coming up now, Matt Severa and George Richards. George Richards is a former champion of the world. Matt Severa, a young man from Lapona, California. I've watched this young guy grow up, the healer. This is a good team. They've had a rough finals. Only won $220 each so far this week. But they won some $17,000 over the year.
What they need is a go-around win because they've been successful on only 7 of the previous 9 steers. A 6.7, that's exactly what they're looking for. They take the lead of the go-around.
Well, it ties them for the lead anyway, Hadley, but I don't think that'll hold. I really don't, because these teams are really going after it, especially those out of the average. You got to watch them. There's Bob Feist. There's Gary Gist, the young man who makes the belt buckles for all of our national champions. And here's Brad Smith, former champion of the world, and Billy Parker at the head.
Now, Billy Parker of Billings, Montana, one of the tough headers in this game. He's a good all-around roper. In fact, we've watched him in NFR competition in the calf roping, where he started his rodeoing career. Brad Smith hails from Dewey, Arizona.
There's 3 legal head catches around the horn, around the neck, or what they call a half hit, around one horn in the neck. But there is a good run, a 7-2.
See, it took just a moment to face those horses, draw the ropes tight. Cost them about a second or a second and a half there.
All right, here's last year's champions of the world. The 1981 world champions, Doyle Gellerman and Walt Woodard. Doyle at the head, Wald at the heels. They've had a rough finals this week. They've only won $2,650, but I got to tell you, first of all, they're gentlemen, and secondly, they can rope. Let's watch Doyle now. Good catch. Takes his dolly. Wald comes in.
Long overdue for a good run. We knew it had to come up eventually. 5 and 7, they'll lead the go-round. No chance at the average, as they're only successful on 7 of the 10 steers that they rope.
All right, let's watch this run in slow motion now. A good, solid catch right around the horns. He takes one turn around his saddle horn, leads the steer away in a good, consistent pace for his heeler. Heeler picks up 2. They face. Both rows taut. The flag comes down, and that's the way it's done. There is one of the famous Camarillos.
If you go to championship team roping, you'll find the Camarillos. This is one of 2 that we'll see today. Gerald Camarillo at the heels. His header is George Harris out of Tucson, Arizona. Gerald from California. Now, they've won $3,300 apiece thus far. They've been successful on all of their steers.
Uh-oh, look out.
Oh, no, this is going to be costly.
It is going to be costly. However, he can catch it. If Gerald ropes... No, Gerald missed 2, Hadley.
I can't believe that.
Any 3 loops would have done it for them. Had Gerald picked up the steer there, and then George could have heeled him. They could have stayed in the average. That takes them out of the average. 2 great cowboys, though. Gerald Camarillo, George Harris. That is really too bad.
When we look to the previous activity of Scott Larimore of Colorado and his teammate Bob Harris of Gillette, Wyoming, we see them winning over $5,000 apiece, and they've only been successful on 5 of their 9 steers so far.
Look out. You see that steer kind of stumble right there? That really cost him that other back foot. He roped 1 back foot, so it's a 5-second penalty. Maybe our director, Peter Silvers, can put that up in slow motion again so we can see that run again. You can watch that steer. Watch the steer now. Header reaches up, ropes the steer, takes his turn, and right there, you see a steer kind of be whipped. Well, actually, had he not whipped him around quite as much, he might have picked up that second back foot. Cost him 5 seconds, though.
Former champ of the world, Alan Bach at the heel end. And Jake Barnes, his header, getting set to go down. Now, strangely enough, they have not cracked the money barrier at the NFR thus far.
I've been to ropings where Alan Bach has just scooped up everything in the mud, in the rain. This man normally is a very... Look out. There's... Whoops. And he almost lost his dolly, too. See that rope feed through? Cost him 5 seconds. A 6-6 plus 5. 1160 for Bach and Barnes.
The father-son team of Dick and J.D. Yates. Now, here is the elder of the 2. He does the heading. This is Father Dick Yates. J.D., the youngster, on the other side. They're from Pueblo, Colorado.
Uh-oh, look out. Earlier in the week, Dad missed his dolly, or actually lost his dolly, and now the young son misses the back end, so it's a no time for Yates and Yates. Too bad.
You know, earlier this year, as we take a look at Ricky Green and Julio Marino out of California, Julio actually was injured earlier. He had a badly pulled groin muscle, and he suggested to Ricky that maybe he get a different header and keep on so he could qualify for the NFR. Ricky said, no, Julio, I'll wait on you to heal up, and we'll see if we can't do it together.
I don't blame him. If I had Julio Marino heading for me, I would go anywhere. Oh, look at this man. He can get it done. Look at there. There's a run for you, Hadley. A 5-4 for Green and Marino.
In the lead of the go-round.
It takes me 5 seconds to go through my checklist before I even throw the rope. Look what these guys have done. They're pretty happy with it, too. Let's watch it in slow motion. Julio Marino. He's the header, reaches up, ropes it right around the horns like you're supposed to. Heeler comes in, reaches down. They used to throw a trap. Now they rope them right out of the air, and that's the way it's done. Face your horse, and there are new leaders in the go, 5-4.
Here's a couple of young men that can be lightning fast. They both live at Gilbert, Arizona. This is Clay O'Brien and Brett Beach. Brett roping at the head end, Clay at the heels. They've won just short of $3,000 apiece thus far here this week.
I think Clay is married to Brett's sister, and Brett's other sister is married to anyway, it's very confusing. The mom doesn't know who to applaud for.
You're right. Well, the 7-1 will bring them to a grand total of 86-3 on their 10 steers. They move to the lead of the average.
Let's watch that run in slow motion because it was a good, solid run.
It was a solid run, and if they should hold this lead in the average, it could be a near $10,000 win for them.
Picks him up, and there you have it. There is the granddaddy of them all. And I don't mean that in age. I mean this is the man who teaches them all. This is the famous Leo Camarillo, and the man who is leading the world, T. Woolman.
Now, if they can be, say, 13 and some change on this one, They can win the average since the world title for T. Woolman. Look at it. It is 7.
There is your champion of the world for 1982, T. Woolman, with the help of his great healer, Leo Camarillo, and Leo's happy for the man also.
Indeed he is. You talk about good roping. Now, actually, they had no chance to break a barrier or pick up a single heel catch. Well, they're happy men. Larry's going to talk to him. I believe he has them down there.
Congratulations to the champ right here, T. Woolman.
Thanks, Larry.
Well, what's going on? You've won it one time. Is it just as exciting this time?
I think it's a little more this time.
Why?
Well, it's the second time. You know, the first time I really had my mind set on it this year. Things just happened. We had an exceptional year. Had Leo healing for me. Everything was great.
You came into the finals a few dollars ahead of Leo. Y'all could have switched partners. He could possibly have been out there fighting for that buckle, but he didn't. What do you think about that?
I think he's a super guy, a really, truly friend of mine.
He must be. What do you think about the man that's been heading for you?
Hell, he's the best roper in the world, Larry, and he deserves to be the world's champion.
Well, coming from the 3 times champ, that's not bad. Congratulations to both of you, the world's champ, T. Woolman. Can I ride your horse?
Sure.
When you want to turn a big hayfield like...
Briefly, let our local stations identify themselves.
KCMT 7 Alexandria, KNMT 12 Walker.
Bob, earlier this week, we had an opportunity to co-host The Beauty and the Beast. And during this competition, we crowned a new Miss Rodeo America. And we also watched 6 men battle it out for some $50,000 in cash awards and the 1982 Wrangler Bullfighting Championship of the World. And now we're going to take a look at some of that action. At the beginning of the 1982 year, we watched 12 bullfighters competing for some $200,000 on the Wrangler Pro Bullfighting Tour. It is condensed to the top 6 here at the finals, and they'll be competing for $50,000 in cash awards, and the World's Championship will be up for grabs. This will be the second year we've had an opportunity to give credit to these great athletes and crown a World's Champion bullfighter. Well, here's a couple of guys, Tommy Feller and Mr. Quail Dobbs, that'll be manning the barrel chores. That'll help these bullfighters out a great deal. The man you see here is Rex Dunn. He's from Oklahoma. He came in 6th place, had a good week. Here's the man that came in the lead, Rob Smets of California. One of those great jumps. It was a good jump. He scored well in that round, but not well enough to gain the title. Rick Chapman of Texas had his troubles all week. One of the great athletes of the field of 6. And right here is the reigning champ of the world, Miles Hare. He made the competition tough all week long. Here's the senior citizen of the group. He's the hero probably of all of them. 53-year-old Wick Peth having a little trouble. Well, here was the man of the hour. This is Skipper Voss of Crosby, Texas. His tremendous style has been admired by his peers for a number of years, and he had an errorless performance in the 4 go-rounds that we watched. Actually, the trouble he got in right there is about the only trouble he had during the 4 go-rounds. He's clowning it up a little for the audience to let them know what it's all about. You can see the excitement. He is happy. The champion of the world. He is Skipper Voss of Crosby, Texas. This pretty young lady is from North Dakota. She is Brenda Bonagowski, and she is the new Miss Rodeo America. Well, it was great competition, and our compliments to the champions, Miss Rodeo America and the Wrangler Bullfighting Champion.
Well, this Heston telecast of the NFR is produced in cooperation with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or reuse of this program in any form for commercial purposes is strictly prohibited by copyright law.
This is the Gray Rose of the Marvin Brooklyn Rodeo Company. Bob right there is the president of the PRCA, Sean Davis, who is, by the way, the coordinator of equine and rodeo activities for the College of Southern Idaho. And sitting with Mr. Davis is chairman of the board of Heston Corporation, Mr. and Mrs. Lyle Yost of Heston, and Mr. and Mrs. Howard Brenneman.
Our thanks to Heston for their cooperation again, the 9th consecutive year of bringing you the world's most exciting sport. And here's one of the world's most exciting events. This is Saddle Bronx and Rick Carpenter.
Well, there's a cowboy that's been to the national finals, both in 79, 80, back in 82. And comes down sharp from that horse, Buckskin Velvet of the Flying U-String. That is the 1982 Bucking Horse of the Year.
Greenville, Texas, we go down to Joe Spearman.
Now, this cowboy has drawn Jim Shoulders' Tomcat. Jim Shoulders of Henrietta, Oklahoma. One of our some 45 to 50 producers. Oh, look out.
Too bad, too. Joe's only won $271 this week at the NFR, but he is a good bronc rider. He won almost $30,000 during the year. Joe Spearman.
Bob, I'd like to acknowledge that we'll not be seeing Mel Coleman, Richard O'Megan, or Buddy Reynolds. They are out with injuries. This finals has been tough on all of our cowboys in the riding events. I think the stock has probably been as good as we've seen in recent years. Now here's David Botham, Hermiston, Oregon, on the horse Velvet Drums of the Sutton String. Boy, here's a tough horse to ride. Botham handling the big spot in good shape.
Our judges say a 73 for David Botham.
Laramie, Wyoming cowboy Rick Smith. He's been riding good broncs. This afternoon he has a horse called Rusty, which was the best horse of the year 2 years ago. Rusty from the Harry Vold string, and this horse here can buck.
We'll correct that score for Botham for you. It came up as a 74 finally from our judges. Here is Rick Smith of Laramie, Wyoming. He needs to ride this horse. This is Rusty, the 1981 horse of the year, the 82 horse of the NFR. The horse owned by Harry Vold. Smith in trouble. Down over the front of that horse. He is disappointed. Now, he is one of just a few men we have here in the final go-around that was successful on 8 horses. Nobody has ridden 9. Look at the power of this horse, Bob.
You're right, Hadley. He came into this third in the average, and he's a very disappointed young man. Ricky Smith.
Comes down hard from that one.
Bud Pauley's going into the finals this afternoon in second place for the average, 2 points behind Monty Henson. So there's a lot of pressure on this bronc ride right here. This boy here can ride these bucking horses. Horse squatting in the chute, having some problems.
Larry right down there where he can see exactly what's happening. As he was telling you, this guy had to ride this horse. He also had the chance to go into the lead of the average in a tough break. Well, this has changed all the bronc riding around. Smith is bucked down. Pauley is bucked down. This is going to change it for a lot of people.
Hadley, this is a good, solid bunch of horses, a very even bunch of horses, and a tough bunch also.
Angel Sings, been the bucking mare, bucking horse of the year on a couple of occasions. Kent Cooper, a tough young bronc rider's drawn her. This is going to be a good one to watch.
Kent Cooper's won almost $9,000 this week at the NFR, $38,000 for the year. Angel Sings from Harry Vold. Here he is, Kent Cooper.
Well, Angel said, I wasn't quite ready to do this. That old pony is now. Now, Cooper's been making some good rides here this year at the finals. He's won nearly $9,000 coming into the final go-round. This cowboy making his first national finals. He's 27 years old. There's a big, powerful bronc rider. Kent stands about 5'11" or 6 foot. Probably weigh about 190.
7 years of pro.
75 score for Cooper.
Okay, here's Bud Monroe now, Valley Mills, Texas. The horse is Badger. Bud Monroe, $4,700 in winnings here at the NFR in Oklahoma City. 44,000, 42,000, I should say, winnings over the year.
Now here's one of the cowboys in contention for the average. He's rode 8 of the 9 horses that he's been on so far. This is Harlan Gunville's horse out of South Dakota, the horse called Badger. Monroe making a good ride on him. If he can be successful on this one, he could establish the lead in the average. I think he made it.
I think he has too, Hadley. Rode the full 8 seconds. The judges say a 73. I believe that puts him in the lead.
Bobby Brown is just a couple of points behind Monty Hawkeye Henson. He's drawn a horse called Guilty Cat, the best bucking horse of the year in Canada. Bobby was the first man to ride this horse a few years ago at the Great Calgary Stampede.
Here is a big, powerful horse and a veteran bronc rider on him. If anybody here can ride this horse, Bobby Brown could. And he has him well under control. This can be a very important ride for Brown. Oh, he comes down hard.
Bobby Brown is one of the class gentlemen in Saddle Broncs. There's no doubt about it. And you've got to watch him because he'll sneak up on you. 77. He takes over the lead now with 642 points. They call him the Hooter, Bobby Brown.
Putney rode a good bronc. Bobby Hooter Brown, how'd he feel to you?
Like it felt too strong.
I got started on him good, and then I kind of got out of there. He blew me up out of there, but I was lucky enough to get my feet set and got set down, and he run me out of air, and I just glad to be here.
A few years ago, you were the first man to ride that horse at Calgary. Did that help your attitude today?
Well, it didn't hurt it any. I don't know that they told me that, but it sure didn't hurt it any.
Congratulations, Bobby Brown, a great bronc rider. Could be the world's champion in years to come.
As we go to the 1980 champ of the world, this is Clint Johnson out of Spearfish, South Dakota. He's on Mike's Velvet of Butler Brothers and Survey String. Now, this cowboy could actually place in the average by riding this horse, because some of our cowboys that were in the lead on the most amount of horses have bucked off, come out of it, so Johnson is back in the hunt.
One event cowboy operates the family ranch and also a professional cowboy. Clinton Johnson, $47,000 in winnings, trying to add to that now. A 76, according to our Wrangler Pro officials, for Clint Johnson.
And with that 76, Bob, that can win him no less than 4th in the average. That's a pretty good ride for that guy.
Boyce, Idaho, claims Butch Small, and proudly, too. From Butler Brothers and Son, or Butler and Son Good Times, that's the horse.
Here's a very, very snappy horse, and a kid that could probably hustle this pony through the ride. Looks like he's got him well under control. You see the way that horse is very, very snappy, kicks hard at the end of each jump. Well, these good bronc riders like that if they can just get tapped out well on them.
How do you see that rosin on the inside of their shafts? Now, they put that on the saddle and on the shafts. Is that correct?
That puts the, or establishes, I should say, the bind in those swells. If those swells get away from you, hey, man, it's all gone, believe me.
Hey, there's a good ride. Butch Small scores an 80, and I know he'll be happy with that. He's leading the go.
Good bronc ride. Do you think you could have ridden him any better?
Yeah, could have.
How?
I could have been down in there a little better, set my feet. Kind of shook me out there a time or two.
That's a good bronc ride. Sounds like a bronc rider never satisfied.
Well, these bronc riders have really had their troubles. We've probably seen more cowboys bucked off in the saddle bronc riding here at the finals than I can remember in the years I've been coming here. Brad Jermison has been among them. Now, he's the defending champ of the world, a North Dakota cowboy on no savvy of halls. And again, Jermison comes down from that one. A tough break for this good cowboy.
Let's go down to Larry Mahan now.
Monty Henson, the 2 times world's champion bronc rider from Mesquite, Texas. All he has to do is mark over 50 points. He will win the average here at the finals. He is the world's champion for 1982.
I remember last year, he said, I'm going to win it next year. Look out for me. Right there in that arena he was interviewed.
Bob, an interesting note. If Hawkeye could win the round on this horse and the average, as Larry said, if he scores over 50 points, he'll win the average. But if he could score in excess of 80 and win the go round, this man, too, could move in excess of $100,000 this year.
Well, he's had quite a year. Last year, he had a rough time drawing good horses. He just had a rough year. There's concentration. There's determination. Here's Monty Hawkeye Henson, Mesquite, Texas.
Now, you can see him kind of hustling the horse. I think maybe he had that $100,000 mark on his mind. Then the horse handing it to him a little tough. I think Monty started thinking about the average and buckled down on him a little to make sure that he made it through there.
There's your champion of the world. He won't be happy with a 64, I know that, but he's got to be happy because he is the 1982 champion of the world, Monty Henson.
Monty Henson is going to win $97,700. He's a happy cowboy. I hope Larry can get a hold of him. We'd like to talk to him.
The young man from Mesquite, Texas, Monty Henson.
Here he is, the world's champion bronc rider, Monty Hawkeye Henson. You had to be a little nervous getting on that horse, but you did it.
Well, I tell you, man, I didn't ride him like I wanted to. He whipped me out of there, and then I just thought about the old back to basics. Bear down. If I get a chance to spur him, I will, but I didn't get the chance.
Over $97,000 won this year. What's next?
I tell you what, 100. That's the only thing left.
100,000.
Yeah.
This is the champ right here, Monty Henson. Congratulations, pal.
Thank you, man. I'm just glad to be here, and I'll thank you for all that stuff years ago you tried to tell me that I wouldn't listen to.
Yeah, I think you've listened to everything everybody's told you. You're doing it right.
Let's face it, no farmer in North America nearly fishes a regular.
Our Heston dealer told us 20.
As we go to the calf roping chutes, this may be the most exciting contest of the day because the championship of the world is on the line.
Amarillo, Texas brings us Roger Davis. This young man is a pharmacist. Decided he'd rather be a professional cowboy. Now, you see one line in front of that chute. 12 feet 6 inches. That's the head start the calf gets over these calf ropers. The string in his mouth is called a piggin string. That's the one he ties him with. And here we go, the first calf roper, Roger Davis.
Well, Bob, I'm amazed that Roger has had such a tough NFR. He has yet to win any money this week, and he has roped so well all year long. But with $30,000 plus, around $33,000 for the year, that's not all that bad. A good 10-6 run here to kind of put the heat on the other boys.
The man from Bridgeport, Texas is Dan Webb. He also, Hadley, has not won a dime this week, but he's a good cowboy. He, too, won almost $33,000. And the nice thing, doing what they want to do, professional cowboys.
He's riding Larry Robinson's horse here in this go-around. We'll see Larry a little bit later on. That's not all that unusual that the cowboys ride another man's horse. Now he sees some trouble on the calf, realizing he could not win on the run. He calls in the ground crew, and of course he doesn't want to overwork the horse for Larry that has to ride the horse a little bit later on. It's been kind of a tough week for Dan Webb.
All right, here's Paul Turney, former all-round champion of the world, Rapid City, South Dakota. He's won $4,000 this week. Let's watch a pro make a run. Look at there. These calves are going to weigh about 280 pounds. They'll average near 280 pounds, and there's a 9 flat for Paul Tierney.
Bob, we've been waiting all week for that run from Tierney. You know, he took 2 or 3 months out from the 82 schedule to stay home with his family and conduct some rodeo schools, and still qualified for the NFR. He's quite a cowboy.
You just saw a picture of our sold-out audience again. People have been trying to get tickets to this event, and here's one of the reasons why. Professional cowboys, D. Pickett, a real competitor, Caldwell, Idaho.
Bob, now this guy has been 110.5 on his first 9 calves. He has a chance to go into the lead of the average if things will work well for him. Needs a good smooth run. He'd like to be down in the 10 or 11 range. That calf refusing to get up. That's very costly for Pickett. The rules say you have to throw him by hand. He does, slows him down a little, wraps him up, gets those hands in the air in 16 smooth, but he still takes the lead in the average at this point.
I was going to say, Hadley, that did it. Now that calf has got to stay tied 6 seconds after that rope becomes slack. Our judge out there will make sure it happens, and the ground crew will untie the calf. And we go now to this young gentleman, Larry Robinson from Alberta, Canada.
This young man has been to the NFR 4 times in his career. He's been successful on 7 of the 9 calves that he has roped at so far this week. So he's out of contention for the average. He needs a hot run, win the go-around, needs something under 9 flat. Paul Tierney holding the lead right now. Larry Robinson, Canadian cowboy, out quick on the calf. He's a fast man with his hands, but again, the calf refusing to get up. That was costly for Robinson.
Good run, though, 10-9 for Larry Robinson. If we can, let's watch that run in slow motion. You notice how Larry was moving his horse around there in the roping box a little bit. He wanted to make sure everything was just right. The horse has to feel right. The calf has to look right. Everything has to work. Off that right side, remember years ago everybody jumped off the left side, but the young athletes, so agile, jump off the right side of the horse. Daylight must show it does. Calf down, he'll make his tie, and a 10-9 for Larry Robinson.
As we get set to go with Mike McLaughlin of Saginaw, Texas. Now, he's roped well all week long, and he's picked up some wins, nearly $6,000, but more importantly, he has been consistent. He stands a good chance to take the lead of the average if he makes a solid run here. He is the son of a former world's champion. A lot of the old-time cowboys have been in town this week, and we'd like to thank our president, Mr. Sean Davis, our general manager, Bob Edson, for providing the gold card room for those guys to enjoy at the Myriad this year.
This kid was raised in a roping arena. As you said, his father was a world's champion. His uncle, Gene McLaughlin, is a great roper and a great trick roper, too. And there is a solid run, 11 flat for Mike McLaughlin, Saginaw, Texas.
Well, that puts him in at 122.2 on the 10 calves that he has roped. He has a comfortable lead in the average.
Big, deep breath there as we watch him in slow motion. Had a good week, though. He's won $5,690 thus far.
And he has a chance to pick up nearly $10,000 more if he can hold that lead in the average.
It's just consistency. If you were a golfer and shot par golf every day, you'd say, that's what I want to do. These kids want to tie these calves in about 9 seconds every time they go out, and they know they'll win a lot. Jimmy Cooper.
Well, Jimmy Cooper lost his chance earlier in the steer wrestling to win the all-around championship. And speaking of all-arounds, he could pick up the largest cash share of the NFR if he can have good luck here. He's in at just short of $20,000 as he comes to this calf, and he has a chance at some of the average money as well.
He's only won about $94,000 thus far this year, Hadley. Watch this kid go down the rope there. He is fast. He is strong. Straining calf. Look out. That's going to cost him right there. See that calf? The calf is straining and kicking. Oh, that does cost him a lot right there.
We see the seconds ticking away. Actually, he needed to be somewhere under 10 seconds to take the lead of the average, and this calf has certainly kicked him out of it. Well, that's the breaks of the draw. We had 3 pens of cattle here, 3 runs on each of the calves. We had 3 different breeds of calves. They selected these for the final round, and 25-2 is what we see posted for Jimmy Cooper's run.
He needed a 10 or under in order to take over the lead in the average. Did not get it. Let's go down to Clark Hankins.
Here's a cowboy that picked up big wins at both Cheyenne and Houston earlier this year. Now, this 30-year-old cowboy is a big man. He stands about 6 foot, weighs about 200 pounds. He rides a good horse. He's a ranch-raised cowboy and a second-generation rodeo hand.
He's also the calf roping rookie of 1982, by the way. A rookie at 30, not bad. A big, strong, young man. He's only won $813 this week, but he sure would like to pick up a few bucks now with a 9 flat for Clark Hankins.
Moves into a deadlock for the lead of the go-round with Paul Tierney, so if they hold those positions, they'll share that lead and split first and second money. So it'll be about $3,000 apiece if that should happen, but this rope and go-round's not over by any means.
In slow motion, Clark runs down the right side of that rope, cap down, puts the pig and string over that right front foot, brings the 2 back up, 2 wraps and a hui, and that is calf roping. And this is California's pride.
Chris Livert has been kind of conservative in his calf roping through the earlier part of the week, and I think he had his sights set on kind of supporting that all-around crowd. Then he had the misfortune of missing a calf and going out of the average, so now he'll probably throw caution to the wind. The only thing he can do to help his all-around standings and win a little more money is to win a go-round or place in the top 4 of this individual round. Let's see what he can do.
Wouldn't it be nice to back into that box knowing you've already run the all-round title for 1982? I don't know who he's talking to, his horse himself or to the shoot help. Nods, and here we go. This is the all-round champion of the world, Chris Livert, Coyote, California.
Oh, look out, Bob. I think he has things going his way. The flag is running.
Sure. There's an 8-8. That'll work, won't it? That takes over the lead in this go-round. The same thing happened in the steer wrestling. After they win, after everything is put aside, boy, they throw caution to the wind and can perform.
That really makes a difference. I think you're absolutely right. We were talking about how cautious he had been in the calf roping thus far. He had nothing to lose, but to just let it all hang out. Boy, he went after this one. He wanted to show him he could still win a go-around if he decided to do it, and he did.
He can. That's 8-8 for Chris Livert. All right.
Well, we're down to it now, Bob.
Isn't this something? This guy, all week long, has just amazed everybody. He came into the national finals in 2nd place. And I mean 2nd place by quite a bit. And he's been pecking away and pecking away and pecking away. He can still win this thing very easily with a good solid run. This is Roy Cooper.
Well, he was down by about $13,000 or $14,000 under Jatan coming to the finals. Oh, no, and it looked like that calf got through that loop. This could be very costly for Cooper. He'll have to tie 2 front legs, a hind leg. That's tough.
Look at this, and look at that, Hadley. Look what he did.
Well, it's tough to do for most people. Doesn't seem to be any problem for Cooper. I don't believe that run.
Just one amazing athlete. You just can't get him down. I don't care what you do. Watch this again. Now, first of all, he got out a little late. The calf's a hard-running calf. He had to whip his horse a little bit to get him up there. Ropes this calf. The rope slips way back to the back foot. He's still going to tie 3 legs. He's still going to have an 11-9 run. That is amazing. That is the amazing Roy Cooper.
I'll tell you one thing. I can't explain the amount of pressure that Jerry Jatan must have right now. He must have that old empty feeling in his stomach. He has to be less than 8 9/10 seconds to be the world's champion calf roper.
Well, here he is, Jerry Jatan. Back in late August, he was some $25,000 behind Cooper. But he overcame that deficit. He added about $13,000 or $14,000 more to it. Believe it or not, this man has to win this go-round. He has to tie this calf under 8 and 9 to win the world title. He too ropes the calf too deep.
Oh, no, look out.
Now the calf comes around, he picks up the hind feet. A pretty wise move there, Bob, as he removed that rope, but now he realizes he had not daylighted the calf. He had to let the calf up and throw him under his own power. Everything is going wrong for Jerry Jeton.
What can we say except, Jerry Jeton, you are a champion. Take your hat off, my friend, because the audience loves you. Bad luck.
But Bob, with all of that trouble, we have to give credit where credit is due. And, you know, Jerry still overcame all those problems and tied the calf in the 18 range, but he broke the barrier. The penalty moved him to 28 flat, and it was just all for naught today. It was trouble all the way for Jeton. A tough break. It was a great competition right down to the wire. We're going to go down to Larry and see if he can talk to our champion, Roy Cooper.
Well, Roy, they can talk about their great champs. You're the greatest ever in the calf roping as far as I'm concerned. Did you think you could do it when you came into the finals?
Well, Larry, I come here, I knew I had to win the average to be the world's champ, and it was all left up to him. Third go-around, I got kicked real bad and took me out of the average, and I said, you know, and everybody else started going out, so the next thing I know, I'm catching back up my average, and when I went out, I started roping for the day monies, and things went my way, and here it is.
What do you have to say to any of the young kids who want to try to follow in your footsteps?
Good luck, baby. It's a tough old road.
The champ, Roy Cooper.
Well, let's go back down to Larry Mahan and Jerry Jeton.
Jerry, anybody that's rodeoed knows that you've spent a lot of time on the road this year, and it all ended this afternoon. What kind of pressure was on you going into that last go-around?
Well, when I backed up in the box this afternoon, I had to be 8-9 to win the world title. D. Pickett this afternoon jerked his calf down, didn't get him up. Jimmy Cooper had a bad calf. Guys that I needed to help me out, you know, if them guys would have stayed in the average, I didn't even have to catch. But the way it happened, everybody went out of the average. It left Roy a shot. Roy roped real good all week. I can't say, you know, what can you say? He roped the calf today by the back foot and tied him in 11-9. He won second in the average. You know, I'm real disappointed. I'm going to have to go home, regroup, but I'll be back again.
You going for it next year?
We'll have to wait till after the buildings are over, see how much we got won.
That was a good year, partner. Thank you.
The ladies take over now with barrel racing. To call the action is Pam Earnhardt.
Thank you, Bob. This is the fast-moving ladies event, and the races have been tight all week. In fact, it's timed electronically to the 100th of a second. The ladies will run in a cloverleaf pattern, and there's only one penalty. That's 5 seconds added for a barrel knockdown. This is Paula Fortner, Plant City, Florida. You'll recall in the Countdown to Glory, the first round of competition, her horse fell. Now, that probably put a scare in her. However, she's made the clean runs all week long, is leading the average. Another clean run for Paula Fortner. A good time of 16 and 25 100s for Paula Fortner. This is Lynn Flynn, Charleston, Arkansas, her third trip to the national finals. Her husband, Denny, broke his leg last night, but he will be riding in the bull riding. She's had some tough luck here at the finals, has hit barrels in many of the go-rounds. This horse runs better outdoors. She gets around him clean today. A good run, 16 and 40 100s for Lynn Flynn. This is Dixie Thomas, Idabel, Oklahoma. This horse looks to me like he would be tough to ride, but he's running very strong here. She's had a good week, has not won a lot of money. She's down in the standings, makes a clean run. The ground is getting deeper as each girl runs. 16 and 46 100s for Dixie Thomas. Now watch Jackie Woolman, Fredonia, Texas. She's been making some good runs. Oh, hits a barrel. Her horse slipped. That's what caused her to hit that barrel. You'll notice that the ground conditions do change as each girl runs. He slips again on the third barrel, but her husband T just won the world championship in team roping. 16 and 60 100s plus a 5-second penalty. This is Donna Krenning, Eaton, Colorado, and this is definitely her arena. 2 times previously she's been to the national finals and won the average here each time. Had she not knocked over a barrel in the 5th go-round, she would be winning the average here. This should be a good run for Donna Krenning. 16-16, she will take the lead in this go-round. This is Jerry Mann, Eugene, Oregon. 4 times she's been to the national finals rodeo. She's riding the oldest horse horse here in competition. Her horse Doze is 16 years old, and watch the ability of this cowgirl. I don't think there's any 10 girls in the world that could get that horse around the pattern penalty-free. 16 and 32 100ths for Jerry Mann. Here is the 1981 World's Champion Lynn McKenzie, and she really gasses it to that first barrel. She hit a barrel last night. She's really thinking about leaving him standing. She needs to win more money here to move her up in the average. A clean run for Lynn McKenzie. This horse is valued at over $60,000. 16 and 22 100ths for Lynn McKenzie. Here's Leanne Gilkey, the #2 girl in the world, riding one of only 2 stallions being competed on here. She's had a pretty tough finals. However, last year she ran the fastest time at the National Finals Rodeo. When he's working, he's a tough competitor, and they're a good team. Not quite fast enough. 16:63 for Leanne Gilkey. Here is Jan Hansen, Tucson, Arizona. No matter what she does on this run, she is the world champion. She's already won enough money this week. The only barrel she's hit this week, but she told me that she's already won enough money to win the world championship. She's trying for a fast time anyway. 16 and 44 100ths plus a 5-second penalty. A little tough luck for Jan. Here is Sharon Camarillo. Again, she chooses to go to the left barrel. This is not her good horse. She's been in the national finals 3 times previously on her good horse 7, who was injured at the Albuquerque Rodeo. Jerry Mann, another national finalist, loaned her this horse for the competition. She's made clean runs all week long. A 17:18, not a very good time, but she is in the average. Lisa Davis, Homedale, Idaho, the wife of a former national finalist in the bull riding, John Davis. She's riding the other stallion in competition. That has happened to Lisa all week long. This horse has been working so good that he barely has been taking that second barrel, leaving it. He's just trying so hard. When he pushes off, the second barrel seems to come with him. 21:75 will be her total time, including the penalty. Kathy Spears, Siloam Springs, Arkansas, tips a barrel. That's the first one she's hit. She has not placed yet at the national finals, but she is the 1982 WPRA Rookie of the Year and the only first-year member competing here. This isn't her good horse. Her good horse was injured in the 3rd go-round. Tough luck for Kathy Spears. 17:13 plus a 5-second penalty. Jan, congratulations. Last year you were #2 in the world. This year you finally won it. What are your feelings?
It's great. I can't believe it. I don't believe it till I see the gold.
What are your plans from now?
I'm going to start school in January and rodeo as much as I can in the summer and during school.
Do you foresee another world championship in your future?
Maybe not in the next few years, but if my horse is still going strong when I'm out of school, I plan to go for it again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's take another look at Heston's limited edition belt buckles.
Since 19 times, there are supplies like
International Finals Rodeo. Bob Eubanks, Hadley Barrett, Larry Mahan, and Pam Earnhardt, bringing you all of the action as we go now to the bull riding. And Hadley, the injuries have taken their toll.
They certainly have, as we watch Charlie Needham of Riverton, Wyoming, get set to open the bull riding for us on a bull called Pat of the Jim Sutton string. Our hats are off to all of these courageous bull riders this week. Needham has had his troubles after a great season and, well, you might say quite a surge at the end of the season to even qualify for the National Finals Rodeo. He now has ridden only 2 of the 10 bulls. He is sore, and I know he feels bad.
Well, he won the Pro Tour USA Championship in Casper, Wyoming, but he's having a rough finals. Let's go down to Larry Mahan.
Ken Wilcox, an Arkansas cowboy, has drawn a bull that they consider the best bull here this afternoon, the best bull to ride, the best draw, J3.
Well, this is a tough bull owned by the Jim Sutton string up in South Dakota. Spectacular Velvet is what the bull is called. And one of the reasons he's considered a tough bull is he'll go both ways on you. Now, Wasey Cathy had him earlier this week. In the second go-round, he marked an 87 and won the go-round. We'll see what Wilcox can do with him. Kenny Wilcox, Greenbrier, Arkansas. Well, he has been stepped on. He has been drugged, run over. And here's a guy well known for his ability to ride bulls consistently without bucking down. But boy, Kenny has really had problems at the NFR this year.
You saw Don Andrews, our Justin Healer, pop in there to help him out. That's one of the features of the PRCA.
Kenny, it's been a long week. What do you have to say about it?
I'll go along with that, Larry.
You glad to see it over?
Well, I'm glad to see today's over.
What are you going to do next year?
I don't know. Who knows? Take her easy.
Thank you.
Well, next out will be Shorty Garton. He's from Sperry, Oklahoma. Has to be an in-house favorite here at the NFR. He has drawn the Bucking Bull of the Year, Savage 7, owned by the Tommy Steiner string from down in Texas.
This man has won almost $40,000 riding bulls, and he's earned every dime of it. As you can see right now, Shorty Garton, Sperry, Oklahoma.
Hey, look at him ride this bull.
Did he make it, Hadley?
Well, I think it was awful close. Now, Needham almost rode the bull in the first go-around, but the bull brought him down. Looking to our Wrangler officials, it looks like it's going to be a qualified ride. 87 big points for Shorty Garton.
I guess it is. As long as the Cowboy's on that bull for the full 8 seconds, he can score. If he spurs, he's liable to pick up a few more points. They judge the Cowboy, they judge the bull. The judges say an 87 for Shorty Garton.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a tough ride. Here's a former champ of the world, won the title back in '78. This is Butch Kirby of Alba, Texas. He is on a bull that has been 2 times Bucking Bull of the Year. This is 777s of the Harry Vold string. Well, there's that famous old crooked horn bull. He has appeared on television before, probably as noted an animal among our rodeo fans as any of the day. At Kirby, it appears to have weathered the storm on old 777s.
Butch Kirby is a good, solid cowboy. In 1978, he was the world champion, the only man to beat Donnie Gay in the past 7 years. And by the way, Donnie Gay is a guy we should talk about because he's had a rough year.
Well, now our Wrangler officials say that he has touched the bull with the free hand. It will be no score for Butch Kirby. No score.
Too bad.
So we go to Wasey Cathy of Del Rio, Texas. Now here's a man that's turned in some great rides, and they've paid off for him. He's won over $3,000 this week. He is on bull 34 of Christensen Brothers. Here's a tough bull to ride. Wasey Cathy. The bull is unridden at the NFR thus far. Wasey trying him hard. Look at him hustle, swinging that outside foot. Go, go. Could do it. No.
No, look out, Wasey, look out.
The bull walks on him. That was bad news for Wasey Cathy.
You know, talk about injuries. Donnie Gay, we've just mentioned Don a minute ago. He finally just said, I'm going to turn him out. Let's watch this in slow motion. Donnie wanted to win the championship of the world one more time, but he has a torn groin muscle, one of the most painful injuries any cowboy could have. But our salute and our hats off to you. Donnie Gay, you've been a great champion. We're sorry to see you retire. Let's go down to Larry Mahan now.
Jerry Bigley's the next bull rider in Oklahoma Cowboys. Had some trouble here at the finals this year. It's the last go around. He's sore, but he's got a pretty good bull drawn. It's going to be interesting to see how he rides this afternoon.
This happens to be one of 2 bulls that are named Sonny's Velvet. This one is owned by the Flying 5 Rodeo Company. Sonny's Velvet, Jerry Bigley aboard. Look at Jerry go. Boy, this guy is glued on today. Come on, Jerry, do it. Finish it right if you can.
He says, yeah, I can. Jerry didn't make the national finals last year, but he came to the finals in 8th place in the world. He's had a pretty good week, and that'll certainly help him out because our judges say Jerry Bigley scores a 78.
We'll watch this ride again, and as we do, we certainly extend our best wishes to the Cowboys that were injured in all of the events, and specifically the bull riding, and we hope things go well for Donnie Gay as he retires from rodeo. He's been a great champion.
Glenn McIlvaine has drawn a bull called Sonny's Velvet, unridden in 1982. Now, Glenn's had a pretty good week here. He's ridden a lot of bulls. He's placed a few times. He's 22 years old from Mesquite, Texas.
You're right, Larry. He has had a good week. He's won $4,450 thus far this week, $42,000 for the year. What a guy. Kind of leads the fashion world among the Cowboys right now with some of his wild outfits.
Well, here's the 3rd best bucking bull of the year. Unridden, as Larry told you, this is Sonny's Velvet, the other Sonny's Velvet we were talking about. He's owned by the Survey String, actually owned by Sonny Backstrom, one of our rodeo secretaries.
Let's go back down to Larry Mahan now.
Then you started a great bull ride. What happened?
Bull kept getting me stretched out. He's making a lot of rounds and he's away from my hand. Got me stretched out and jerked me into my hand.
Did you get tired?
I was getting tired, but all I've got to say is I'm glad to be here at the 10th go-around. And I've had more fun this week. I've never had so much fun and been so sore in my life.
I'm sure we'll see you here next year.
San Antonio, Texas brings us Mike Bandy 5 times to the national finals.
Well, Mike is one of the big winners here this year. He's won over $7,700. But surprisingly enough, he has taken some bad shots in some of the earlier rounds. You recall, Bob, when we seen him come down very, very sharply. And I thought possibly he might have been sore enough to have to pass this final go-round, but he's in there.
Everybody's taking some rough falls all week long. Look out. Oh, no.
Well, he took another bad shot there off of Pete Burns, bull number 20, the bull out of Wyoming. And Bandy is down. He appears to be hurt. This looks bad.
Let's watch him in slow motion. He did take a terrible fall. Look at that, right on his back. Our rodeo clowns jump right in there to protect him. Don Andrews, our Justin Healer, in there to help him out.
Farmers everywhere are becoming more concerned about soil erosion.
Gary Toole has a chance to win the finals here, but he's drawn a bull that's been unridden this year. He's making sure that his rope's right. The hand has to be in the right position. A lot of pressure, a lot of concentration.
Well, as we get set to go, we had a look at one of our two bullfighters, David Burnham and Jimmy Anderson. J.G. Crouch in the barrel. They've done a tremendous job protecting these cowboys this year. We appreciate their work. Gary Toole on a bull called Velvet Wipeout, owned by the Flying G Rodeo Company out of the state of Florida. Now, Gary won $8,800 at Houston earlier this year, helped him en route to his qualification for the National Finals Rodeo. There's old J.G. right there.
How would you like to know that you could win the average on a bull that's never been ridden, and his name is Wipeout?
Bad sound, isn't it? Gary Toole. Boy, there's a tough bull rider.
And a tough bull, too, Hadley.
He is one nice guy, too, believe me.
Gary Toole was an outstanding high school and college rodeo cowboy, and now he's an outstanding professional cowboy. Let's watch him again in slow motion. No score, but Gary Toole has had one outstanding year. We congratulate him and welcome to the NFR.
Gary made some good moves out of the gate, made the turn back, and then what happened?
Well, I was a little late on the turn back, and he got me strung out. I finally got over there, and then he just kind of blowed sideways. My rope went with me, just overmoved, really. I was a little late when he turned back. Had to make a real excessive move to get over there, and when I did, he just kind of blowed sideways with me. Left me over there.
Out 27 times and unridden. If back in right now, you think you could ride him?
I'd sure try.
Well, here's a boy that has really ridden well at the finals. This is Ricky Lindsay of Huntsville, Texas. Omar Velvet, the bull that he's on, he's owned by the Joe Kelsey string. Now, this cowboy has had some big wins this year, including over $8,000 at the daddy of them all, the granddaddy of them all, Big Cheyenne, Wyoming.
He's won $4,400 this week already, Hadley. He's won $60,000 on the year. Like we said before, every dollar they earn, they truly do earn. Ricky Lindsay now.
Well, what an attitude he has, and what a package of talent he's showing you right here on this good bull.
Looks like a good ride, waiting for the judges. Yes, it is a good ride. It's an 83 for Ricky Lindsay. Good ride from this young cowboy who hails from Huntsville, Texas. Let's go down to Larry Mahan. He's going to talk to Ricky about his ride.
Ricky's one of the few men to ride a bull here this afternoon. 83. Bull turned back hard. You made some great moves to recover. Explain it to us.
Well, Larry, I've had a bad time here this week. It's been looking better. I had a lot of friends rooting for me at home. I just wasn't about to let them down.
Just right, partner.
Bob Eubanks, Hadley Barrett, Larry Mahan, Pam Earnhardt at the National Finals Rodeo in Oklahoma City, bringing you the action from Heston the same day it happened.
Denny Flynn broke his ankle last night. He has to get on this bull to win the average. Now, he doesn't have to ride him. All he has to do is put his hand in the rope and nod his head. It's one of the rules of the association.
Well, Denny Flynn, of course, following the rules of the association, he was injured in the 9th go-around, was stepped on by a bull. It broke his ankle. And actually, the doctor said he couldn't get out of the hospital. He said, I'm going anyway. I'm going to put my hand in that rope, and I'm going out there and win $10,000. They're going to do surgery and pin the ankle tomorrow afternoon.
So what he had to do, he had to sit on the bull. He had to put his hand in the rope, and then the bull is released. He did not have to ride the bull in order to stay in the average. Let's go to Larry Mahan. He'll talk to Denny Flynn about this.
You think you could ride him if you got on him again?
Like that, yeah.
Congratulations, partner.
Part of our sold-out audience again from the Myriad in Oklahoma City. You're watching the 1982 National Finals Rodeo. You see the sequins on this young cowboy sleeve. That's the man from the Bronx. He came in here second in the world, Bobby Del Vecchio.
He's drawn a Kirby Bull number 4. Now, Bobby has won $8,500 already this week. He's been in a tight race for the championship of the world with the man that we're going to watch in a little while.
See that bandage on his arm? 5 stitches from a fall last night. He was bucked off of a bull. It doesn't stop him. They go get stitched up. They come back again.
Well, Bob, this is what they've worked for all year, to come to the national finals. As we mentioned at the onset of the show, over $700,000 at stake here. Come on, Bobby, hustle this one. Well, he has a lot of fans rooting him on. A little longer, Bobby. You can do it, sure. Right there, heard the sound of the horn.
He did do it, too, and he's pretty happy about that. And there is the famous Del Vecchio kiss. Quite a cowboy, the man from the Bronx. He placed second in the world last year. He's going to end up second in the world this year, but he is a #1 guy, Bobby Del Vecchio, and he scores a 79. Hadley, let's watch him in slow-mo.
It's the kiss of victory. That's what we call it. Look at the power of that bull. Look at Bobby hand it back to him. Says, come on, partner, I can take all you can give to me. Oh, man, look at the moves. Power, 1,900 pounds of bull.
Here's Ted Noose now. Ted is on a re-ride bull. Earlier, the judges said he deserves a re-ride on a bull that just didn't quite perform like he was supposed to, but this one does. Ted Noose, California cowboy.
Well, actually, Ted's bull kind of fell with him, you may recall, just a little bit earlier, and that's the reason he came up with the re-ride for Ted Noose. Now let's go back down to Larry.
Ted, before the rodeo today, you told me that this was going to be the greatest day of your life because you wanted to be on television at the national finals. Do you still feel that way?
This still is the greatest day of my life, and I'm really happy to be here, and I love California.
What are you going to do next year?
I'm going to go just as hard as I can, travel with Charlie Sampson, and maybe try to get a gold buckle.
Good luck, cowboy.
Well, history was made this week here at the National Finals Rodeo, and you're about to see why. We have our first black cowboy to win a World's Championship. Congratulations to you, Charlie Sampson. You're all right.
Charlie Sampson on bull, Red Lightning. Charlie's the world's champion bull rider, but has a chance to win the finals if he rides this bull and marks 67 or more.
Well, Bob, what a match we have here. Of course, it'll be just kind of a bonus for Charlie Sampson, but he, too, would like to crack that $100,000 mark and has a chance to do it. Red Lightning of the Tommy Steiner string, a tough bull to ride. All right, Charlie.
Ride him, Charlie. Come on. This is a $10,000 ride. No, he got bucked off. That would have made Charlie another $10,000, but okay, he ends up with $90,000 for the year. He also is the world's champion, and he's about to talk to another world's champion, Larry Mahan. And there's Bobby Del Vecchio taking a bow with our champ, Charlie Sampson.
Bobby. With Charlie, you bucked off a ranked bull. He's bucked off a lot of top hands, but you're the world's champion bull rider. Congratulations, man. This is what you've been waiting for. How do you feel about it?
I really feel good because it's been a lot of years before I got to this position. I just feel that Denny Flynn deserved to win the national finals, in which I had a chance. And I think Oklahoma have accepted me real well, and I'm just happy to be in this position right now.
You're a great champ and a good representative of the sport of the rodeo, cowboy. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I had a chance to talk to this kid at length out in Las Vegas earlier this year, and Charlie said his overall goal, of course, was to win the world title, but what he really hoped for was to just stay sound all year. He had always been plagued with injuries. He stayed sound, he achieved his goal, and it is a great win for Charlie Sampson.
And a great win for Charlie's mother, because she's one of his best supporters. Congratulations to you, Mrs. Sampson. Here against Larry now.
Well, I've got the #1 and the #2 men in professional rodeo as far as bull riders are concerned. The world's champ, Charlie Sampson, the #2 man for the second year, Bobby Del Vecchio. Bobby, it's been a long, hard year. You finished second. How do you feel about Charlie being the champ?
I love it. I love it. You know, little people know me and Charlie, we rodeoed together back in about April. But we had to split up because we won first and second everywhere we went. And if there was anybody, you know, how could you win first and second and come here? And it might have been tied or something. But second's better than third. And this kid is just phenomenal.
Are we going to see a race between the two of you guys next year?
Yeah, and I think you might see us rodeoing together, though.
Charlie, you're the world's champion bull rider. Congratulations, partner. What's next for you?
Well, just like Bobby said, just going down the road, trying for another one. And people should know that watch out, ladies and gentlemen, because Irving Cowboys is in.
The champ and the number 2 man of the world, Bobby Del Vecchio and Charlie Sampson.
Well, Hadley Barrett, it's been quite a rodeo. As you can see, some pretty happy Cowboys. Injuries certainly were a factor in what went on here at the National Finals in Oklahoma City. We have some great champions, and there's a shot of the locker room back there.
Well, there's Denny Flynn on crutches. As we mentioned earlier when we watched him compete, he'll be going into the hospital tomorrow to have that leg pinned. Well, of course, it is a victory for a lot of Cowboys, a depressing moment for some of them, but I think they're all just happy that they had a chance to compete at the World Series of Professional Rodeo.
Our thanks to Heston, too. We should thank all of the people of Heston for, again, the 9th consecutive year bringing you this, the world's champion of them all, and same-day coverage. That is what really is important, I think. On behalf of Hadley Barrett, Larry Mahan, Pam Earnhardt, Bob Edson, the general manager of the PRCA, Sean Davis, all of the people that made this happen, this has been an outstanding, exciting week. There's Bob Feist talking to J.C. Trujillo. Bob, one of the fine rodeo announcers in the West Coast.
Well, you see them around there kind of congratulating one another. And as we mentioned, victories for many, depressed times for others, but they'll all go regroup. They'll go home to their families for Christmas. They'll start it all out again in Odessa over the holidays.
And then they'll go on to Denver. Actually, the first rodeo of 1983 already has happened, wasn't it? Brawley, California, if I remember correctly. But what can I tell you, except these guys are the toughest guys in the world. And there is a picture of Charlie Sampson, the new 1982 World's Champion Bull Rider. We hope you've enjoyed this outstanding event. It's been exciting for us, bringing it to you live on tape from Oklahoma City.
The 1982 National Finals Rodeo has been brought to you by the Heston Corporation in cooperation with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys.
In the arena, the bronc saddles were dragged out to be put on the horses, but now it's all over. The $700,000 plus has been paid. On behalf of all of the Heston farm equipment dealers across America and the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, this has been the 1982 National Finals, maybe one of the most exciting and undoubtedly the richest of all. On behalf of Larry Mahan, Pam Earnhardt, Bob Eubanks, Hadley Barrett, Red Stiegel, and myself, Bob Tallman, that's the way it is for 1982. Merry Christmas and have a happy holiday season.
Travel arrangements provided by and promotional consideration granted to Frontier Airlines. Frontier, the official airline of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, is the airline with first-class comfort at coach prices serving 28 states, Canada, and Mexico.
Accommodations and lodging were provided by Best Western. Rest assured at Best Western, the choice of rodeo folks everywhere.